So y'all know by now that we live in Illinois. It was almost 80 degrees yesterday. And now it's 20. Like the high was almost 80. It was like 78 degrees. And now it's, I'm gonna look at the weather right now. Cause it ain't good. 24, Jesus. It got super freaking windy last night, and then there were like tornadoes in Chicago.
Yeah, there was a chance. It was almost 80 degrees yesterday. My brain wouldn't function. And we had a chance of tornadoes and a chance of snow. There was something else.
It was like tornadoes, wind, hail, snow, rain.
Yeah.
And it all happened within like a 5-hour period. Because it got super windy at like 7. And then all the tornadoes went up north when they were supposed to come here, but then they went north, thankfully. And then it got super windy, and then it snowed at like midnight. And then, well, first it was raining, then it started snowing, and then now today it's just cold and windy, and I'm not having it.
At least it's sunny though.
And then tomorrow it's gonna be back to 50 degrees. Like if we all don't get sick by the end of the week, it'll be a freaking miracle. Anyway, today the video that we are doing is the most haunted cemeteries in Indiana. This was requested by Jordan, so fuck you. The first cemetery is the Hayes Cemetery. At the end of a bumpy gravel road around the small town of Wilkinson, Indiana, lies the Hayes Cemetery. Also known as the Main Street Cemetery, Hayes Cemetery has gained some spooky attention over the years. Along with being an early resting place for Indiana settlers in the 1800s, it is also the location of some sinister rumors. One rumor is that bodies were dug up to use for satanic rituals. Another tells of a devil child who people claim to see the apparition of in the cemetery. It is said that on her grave is a plant that grows in the shape of a pitchfork. Whether these legends are true or not, it would be a truly creepy experience at night. Somebody said, like I was typing it in, looking at people's blogs and stuff. I was typing it in, and I saw that one person was like, they went there during the day, and they were like, it does have a very odd vibe, but like we didn't see anything. But it's also out in the middle of nowhere, so I don't know. I don't know what goes on over there.
The next one is Mount Zion Cemetery. Mount Zion Cemetery sits on the Blue Lick Road in Henryville, Indiana. It is rumored to be haunted by a ghostly green lady. She is said to be the spirit of a young woman who was killed in a car crash nearby. She was buried at the cemetery and is said to roam the cemetery glowing green. Allegedly, if you park at the cemetery at night, she may cover the car with a green ectoplasmic goo. One witness says, I've been here a few times and I can say that at least one time I was there, we got some action. Firstly, we started hearing sounds of horse hooves nearby. Secondly, we started hearing noises in the bushes and what seemed to be footsteps. Third, it was the woman.
Yeah, I found that person who said that. And horse hooves, I don't think that's a good sign.
It's a headless horseman.
The next one is the Southeast Grove Cemetery. This cemetery dates back to the mid-1800s near Crown Point, Indiana. Southeast Grove Cemetery is the actual name, but locals know it as Gypsy's Graveyard. A legend tells of a band of gypsies that came through Crown Point in the 1840s and decided to camp out there for a few weeks. The locals were not very accepting of them and insisted they leave. They blamed them for stealing livestock and saying they were a nuisance. After a few days, the people complained so much that they left. The only reason they stopped in the first place was due to a sickness spreading throughout their camp. Some of the gypsies were gravely ill. As they left town, they buried all that had passed away in what is now Southeast Grove Cemetery. The legend says that as they were leaving, they put a spell on the cemetery to curse whoever disturbed the dead. Allegedly, blood has been found on visitors' pant legs. There are also reports of shadows, orbs, and strange feelings while there. You don't fuck with them gypsies. I can see that happening.
The next one is the 100-Step Cemetery. About a half-mile south of Cloverland, between Brazil and Terre Haute on US 40 is the 100-Step Cemetery. It is also known as the Carpenter Cemetery or Cloverland Cemetery, and said to be the most haunted cemetery in Indiana. This cemetery was established around the time of the Civil War and is still an active cemetery. The reason it is nicknamed the 100-Step Cemetery is because to get to the summit you have to walk up 100 steps. That's a lot. There are two different legends surrounding the cemetery. The first is that at midnight, under a moonless sky, a visitor must walk up the steps counting as they go. At the top, they should have counted 100 steps. Then, as they go back down, they count again. At the bottom, the number will be different. Some say it's because of something paranormal. Others think it's because you're counting steps in the dark. Once you get to the bottom, you turn around and look back at the top. A ghost of the first caretaker will appear and show you how you will die. If the number was the same both ways, the vision was wrong. If the number didn't match, you'll die in the way the caretaker showed. Another legend says if you leave the path or don't count the steps, a devil hand will push you to the ground and leave a mark.
The last one is the Little Egypt Cemetery. This cemetery has been around many years and many stories have been passed down from generations. One legend says as you enter the woods through which the gravel lane passes on your way to Little Egypt, the knoll you can see in the distance, a young ghostly man will dart out in front of your car. You slam on the brakes but still hit the figure. Then you realize nothing is there. Sometimes the apparition stands on the side of the road, covered in blood, watching you. It is said that inside the cemetery you will see figures climbing and hanging from the trees in the corner. There is a tombstone of a baby, and it is said if you toss a nickel onto the tombstone, you will hear a baby crying.
Weird.
There is nothing more terrifying than hearing a baby cry when there's not a baby around.
Or hearing a child giggle when you don't have a child.
Yep. Yep.
There's that Facebook post, I shared it like 10 years ago and it always pops up in my memories.
Chewing.
And it says, the most beautiful sound in the world is a baby's laughter, unless it's 2 a.m. and you don't have a baby. And I was like, oh God.
They ain't wrong.